Hey y'all, Bloodwing here. Welcome back to Redneck Radio. Back to bring some grumpiness to your internet. And with me is Irate Bear.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're well on this glorious Thursday.
Well, I don't know about glorious. It's pretty rainy here, but yeah.
Uh,
We had thunderstorms the last 2 days.
oh, nice.
Thunderstorms in February in Indiana is not common.
Well, you got it this year, and at least you're nice and warm now.
Yeah, earlier today we had some pretty good boomers. It was rattling the house. I'm like, wow. Hope it don't knock me off the air.
Oh, how are you, Bloodwing?
I am extremely exhausted, but we'll get to that in a minute, and that has a little bit to do with the title of the stream. But yeah, it's been a couple of days. Before we get into that, I see everybody's already. Some people have already started to get into their bets for when the old man has to go to the bathroom. So
58 minutes.
yeah, go ahead, get your bets in. Also, like and share the stream. And if you'd like to go a little further and help me out, there are links to my Patreon and to Streamlabs in the description. And trust me, lately, what you have given has gone to a lot of good use. And speaking of that, when I started the stream, I already had a donation. True Master Cole, thanks for the donation. Sorry, Bloodwing, I'm too poor to give you any money today.
You give Bloodwing money, and he'll spend it on redneck things.
Yeah, like keeping off the street and keeping lights on. You know, all that redneck stuff.
Oh, well, I would have thought that you'd buy a diamond encrusted rocking chair to sit on your veranda.
That doesn't sound very comfy. I do want a rocking chair, though. I love rocking chairs.
My shock, imagine it.
Have you ever rocked in a rocking chair?
Yeah.
There's just something about it that's just so right.
Oh, I'm like a kid in a candy store on a rocking chair.
Oh gosh,
I can't not rock.
Exactly. You can't. I challenge you to sit in a rocking chair and not rock. It's going to happen, even if you don't realize you're doing it.
Gerbil's right. Diamond, crack, and hookers.
Yeah, there you go.
Those are all redneck things.
There you go. Exactly. So, yeah, I've had quite the couple of days. Let me get a cigarette lit here real quick. I'm actually smoking store-boughts today. Imagine that, instead of rolling my own.
Tailor-made?
Yeah. Haven't had any for a long while. Haven't had a cowboy killer in so long. I said, well, I can afford one pack.
There you go.
So, and in case you didn't know, cowboy killers are Marlboro Reds. That was my smoke of choice before I started making my own.
Surely the most redneck thing you can do is buy bricks to put your truck on top of.
You do know how they tell the rich rednecks, right, from the poor ones?
Because they have wheels on their cars?
No, because they have two trucks up on blocks in the yard.
Bloodwing's only got one because he's a proper working class man.
Actually, I was out trying to get my truck started because of all the other nonsense. I didn't get it started, but it is insured. So when I get it started, I can drive it.
There we go.
But hi, Jenna, and anybody else that said hello since. So yeah, wild couple of days. If you don't follow me on Twitter, and again, why not? Because YouTube's not going to inform you on a consistent basis when my live streams come out. So if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know.
I'll get your link for you so people can go follow you.
Yeah, Twitter is in the description as well. Now, seriously though, I'm not very active on Twitter all the time, but when I do, I've got something to say. But
he does. He's usually trying to start shit with other YouTubers. He's
usually
a massive drama whore.
Yeah, I am. That's me. You caught me out.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Vanilla. Um, and if you don't have Twitter, Random American, I get it. I resisted for the longest time and really only have it now so I can keep up with my YouTube friends. I've only had Twitter for a little over 2 years now. So,
yeah.
But at any rate, I talked about it a little bit yesterday. I went to bed about 2 o'clock in the morning, and yesterday it was about 7 a.m. So it's still dark outside. It was still pretty dark because it was pouring down rain. Phone rings. It's my wife. I pick up the phone, and literally what she says is, I am sitting in the middle of a field with 4 flat tires. Full stop.
It's a bad way to start the day.
That's a bad way to start. That's the first time. I never thought I would start a conversation with those words. I got to be honest with you.
Hello. Yeah, I'm stuck in a field. All my tires are flat.
I'm like, is everybody all right? Because I knew that she had the 2 of my granddaughters with her, and my daughter, and yeah, they're fine. How did you get in the middle of the field? Well, we'll talk about that later, she says. No, let's talk about it now. No, we'll talk about it later. There's not time. You have to come get us.
When somebody says that, they're guilty.
Yeah. I would have Gunny or Gunny's brother, but she had my granddaughters with her. So, yeah, I'm not going to leave them sitting out there in the middle of the field. So she says, you got to come get us. I said, how am I going to do that? Well, you're going to have to take your dad's van. And those that don't know, my dad is in a convalescent home, and I have his minivan here mainly to keep an eye on it because there's nobody at his house. So it sits out in my driveway, and I only drive it if I'm doing running for him. I don't feel right driving it for anything else. I said, well, that's all well and good, but there's no room because Dad, like a lot of really old people, is a pack rat. And the only place to sit in that van is the driver's seat. It is full to the top with junk.
I might need that.
Yeah. It is literally full to the top with junk. She says, well, you got to move a couple of blankets and just make room for the 2 girls. A couple of blankets? You think that's what it is? Look, it's going to take me a while, but I'll do the best I can. So I go out to the van, and the first thing I see is it has a flat tire.
Oh, dear.
So that's okay. I got an electric air pump. I get the air. I come back in, track mud everywhere because my driveway's nothing but a mud pit. And didn't even care. Screw it. Grabbed my air pump, took it out there. While the tire's pumping up, I open the side door and start moving stuff. Totes and vacuum packed clothes and piles of clothes. And I'm taking it back to my non-running truck and putting it in the bed because it's covered with a camper shell just to have somewhere to put it. By now, my legs are screaming because I got bad legs anyway. Shut off the air pump. I've made 2 spots there. You can sit in the passenger seat, and there's 1 spot in the middle seat that you can now sit in. I call her up and said, where are you at? She asked the police officer, where are we going to be? I said, well, we're going to be at because, the police is there. I guess the fire station showed up. Paramedics showed up. Everybody's there except for the morning news. And I don't doubt but why they didn't make it on that too. I didn't watch. Because I've seen a picture of it. Here's this big open field, and right smack in the middle of it, if you look real close, is this little black SUV. So I said, where are you at? And they give the address, and I put it in my phone, and I said, there's no such address in Indianapolis. Said, well, we're in Brownsburg. Oh, you're in Brownsburg, which is just a little whistle stop out west. Yeah, we're in Brownsburg. She says, "Well, tell you what, down the road a little piece, there's a Lowe's, which is um, a big store where you buy construction materials and whatnot." So, all right, I'll meet you at the parking lot at Lowe's. Get out in the middle of traffic on the interstate to get up there, which, if you know me, I don't like driving anyway. Can't see because there's too much junk in in the van. It's pouring down rain. I'm yelling at people to get the heck out of my way. Finally get up there and they're not there. And I waited and I waited and I waited. And finally, like 45 minutes goes by, they show up.
Good grief.
I guess they had to wait for the police officer that was driving her up there to get a replacement because they wanted a police officer on scene. Brownsburg's a little one horse whistle stop, and I guess this is the biggest crime of the century, her driving in the middle of a field, because they called out all the stops. So great. So she gets in. I'm like, I only cleared 2 spots. She goes, I know. I said, I don't know how you're going to get in here, but the girls got to sit where there's seatbelts. So we get that all figured out. Have to drive all the way from one far end of the town all the way to the other far end of the town. That's about a 20-mile trip to take them to school. Come back. By the time I come back, my hips, I'll try to make this quicker than I already have. My hips are screaming. I've been in the car way too long. I can't sit in the car too long. And then she decides, and this is where your money came in. She was a little short on money, so I loaned her some out of what you guys have tipped to me, so we could get a rental car so she could get to work and stuff. So thank you guys for that. You helped us get through a tough patch.
See, you guys, you really help him out.
Yep. And so then in the afternoon, I had to drive her all over town looking for a rental car because nobody had one. The first 2 places we stopped at, it wouldn't have anything until the next day. Finally drive to Avon, Indiana, and find one there. I don't know what's going on in town, but everybody's out of rental cars. After everything settled down, I asked her, okay, so how did you end up in the middle of the field? Well, it wasn't my fault. I didn't ask that. How did you end in the middle of the field?
It's definitely her fault at this point.
Yeah. The area that she was at has no street lights. I mean, it's out in the middle of the country. So it was dark and it was raining. Visibility was very low. This section has 2 stoplights. You can go straight through one, but the second one ends at that field and tees off to either the left or the right. She wasn't paying enough attention, thought she was crossing through the first intersection and not the second one, and hit that field doing 45 miles an hour without hitting the brakes.
And away she went.
Yeah, boy, they went for a ride.
But was it really wet as well?
Oh, it was such a muddy mess. It took them hours to get that car out of there.
Oh, no.
Because it was so far into the field and buried up past the axles. It flattened all 4 of the tires, probably bent the rims, I'm guessing. This is not going to be cheap. But it wasn't my fault. The cops said that there's wrecks there all the time. We'd be surprised. I said, basically what you said is you weren't paying enough attention.
So just like them, it was also your fault.
Yeah. So we get to this morning. I'm thinking, well, at least I can sleep in tomorrow morning. This is all over. 8 o'clock this morning, phone rings. And I'm sleeping really sound. And that's rare for me, people. And that's why it aggravates me so much. First words out of her mouth is, are you asleep?
Should have said yes.
Well, I'm not now. Yeah, she'd forgot her keys since she didn't have to take her car keys with her and she was sitting out in the driveway. and had to have me let her in. I'm like, am I asleep? All the lights are off in the house. It's completely dark. You're sitting in the driveway. You can see the house, and you're wondering if I'm awake.
To be fair, Blood, though, I think that's a well, I mean, the way that she framed it was pretty bad. But you know, to expect that you might be awake, up and playing games or whatever, or doing stuff on YouTube, it's not so far fetched.
No, I was sound asleep having a strange dream. I was dreaming that I was watching the Bohemian Rhapsody movie, which I have not seen and really, really do want to because I'm a huge Queen fan. But yeah, don't know why I was dreaming that. But then the phone rings. So that's been my couple of days. But it's all good, guy. I don't mean to sound like I'm complaining because I'm not much of a complainer. You can ask Bear. What's my favorite saying, Bear? It is what it is.
It is what it is, yeah.
If I just, you know, life is life and it is what it is. They're all safe and unharmed. Cars are just things and objects. You can fix them. You can replace them. You know, this was bad timing. It was at a time when we were getting our tax check, and I thought, well, we're going to get caught back up and not get put in the street. And then this happens. But, you know, we're survivors. We always have, and we always will.
So, guys, if you really want to support Bloodwing in this terrible time of deep mud and bent axles and bad decisions, you can donate via Streamlabs, link in the description. And of course, that will probably go towards car repairs due to female error. And that's exactly what we're going to call it from now on, female error.
Pumpkin trucker, somebody isolate that sound. Bloodwing, I'm a huge Queen. I said huge Queen fan.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's funny, Blood, because, you know, I've only had one accident in my car and it wasn't even that big of a deal. But it was a woman who hit me.
Oh, good Lord. I wish I could say I only had one. I've had the worst luck in the world. Or, well, I went through a period where I had the worst luck in the world. I haven't been in a wreck in a very long time, knock on wood. But I went through a time there that it seemed like every time I turned around, somebody was running into me. Yeah, it was a woman, huh? What was the story?
It wasn't that big of a deal. I was driving round. I was trying to go to the store. I was driving through a 20 zone. So I wasn't, I was doing 20. And the silly little old lady didn't bother checking the mirrors. And she was parked up and she pulled out and she drove into the passenger door on the driver's side. But because I saw it, I tensed up thinking she was going to hit me at speed. Because all I saw was like a bit of a brown blur of her dirty brown car. And I thought it was coming a lot faster than what it was. And it hit me. But I stopped and then we parked up and I checked the car and she was like, "Do you want me details?" And I was like, "Oh, there's no point. It wasn't worth it."
And I just got a donation from someone that told me not to read it out loud. They want to keep it on the quiet. So thank you. You know who you are.
Start reading everybody's names in the chat and then hopefully their family members will hear it. And then they'll be like, "Who are you making donations to?"
Yeah, at one time, I actually hit a car full of old people. It was a car transporting old people for an old folks home.
Did you do that on purpose?
No, I didn't. I come up over the rise over an overpass, and just on the other side of it, they were stopped dead in the middle of the road. No flashers, no lights, no nothing, just stopped dead. And I rammed them right in the back of right in the rear end. I slammed on my brakes, but I was doing about 30 miles an hour, and I only had, by the time I seen them, come up over a blind rise, there was no time. But because of the way the laws are in the state, if you hit somebody in the back, it's automatically your fault.
Yeah. So it is here as well.
And I didn't hit them that hard, really done very little damage to their car. But every single one of them got out holding their neck. "Oh, my neck, it's whiplash. Oh." And I just looked at them like, yeah, good luck suing me.
Yeah, I mean, there are various rules that we have here in the UK when it comes to this kind of thing. You have to, I can't remember exactly what they are in terms of the details down to the speed, but you have to be doing a certain speed when you crash to kind of like claim the whiplash thing.
Yeah.
So, and obviously we do have a problem with those. I forget what it's called. You know, when you slam your brakes on to try and cause an accident.
Mm-hmm.
There's an act that is called something.
Oh, that's my favorite move when somebody tailgates me is brake light them.
I know people that do that as well, but
Oh, I do it constantly.
there are people that do it for the insurance.
I don't do it for the insurance. I do it to aggravate the crap out of them. You're following me too close. Back off.
Yeah, exactly. Stop getting up my ass.
But
Happens all the time, man.
yeah, no. At one time, I did go through a very rough period with wrecks, and one of the wrecks I had was on the way to work. I had just bought a Chevy Chevette, which I don't know if you know, is just a little bitty thing, little bitty hatchback car.
I've got an itty bitty hatchback car,
and I got rear-ended while I was stopped for a light by a bread truck that couldn't get stopped.
So what like an LGV type truck?
Great big, yeah, like a van.
Yeah.
Oversized van. Long story short, I got knocked into oncoming traffic, and before it was all over, 4 different vehicles had hit me.
Good grief.
Yeah. It had busted out all the windows out of my car because of the body stress, except for the windshield.
Mm.
And I went ahead and drove 20 miles to work after that car. I had to get to work.
Hey, you could have had a day off for that.
You don't know the boss I had at the time. He was Satan himself.
Oh no, not one of them.
Yeah.
Boss, yeah, I kind of got hit by 4 other cars today on the road, and all my windows were smashed. You know, the airbag hit me in the face. My face all burnt from hitting it.
Oh,
any chance I could have a day off? No.
I already knew because earlier, like a year before, I had got into a bad crash with my wife's car, totaled her car on an icy interstate, and was down in the ditch. The front end was so mangled it was doing a permanent right turn. I don't mean the wheels were just a right turn. The whole front end was turned to the right.
Oh wow.
And it was pretty bad. And the cops stopped. And this is the days before cell phones, and what cell phones were there might have been were the great big brick looking things.
Mm.
So the cop somehow was able to let me use this radio and patch through to the phone and call my boss and call my wife, who was pregnant with J-Kid at the time. So that's how long ago it's been. And call my boss, and I said, and the cop tells him, Mr. He uses my name. Is an employee there? Yes. Well, he's here. He's been in a bad crash. He's going to be running behind, but we're going to take him to work. He's been in a bad crash. First words out of my boss's mouth was, well, is he going to make it to work?
No empathy there at all.
Oh,
just none. Wow.
True Master Cole, how is Bloodwing still alive? Sometimes I wonder. And when I tell the story that I have planned to tell today, you'll wonder even more. But yeah.
Bloodwing's been shot at.
On more than one occasion.
He's had to take on gangs of lads who are armed with blunt weapons and sharp weapons. His teenage years were pretty grim as well.
Yeah. I was stabbed at a basketball game in high school once.
There you go. Basketball hooliganism. It's a new one.
But yeah. This same fella one time looked at me and says, man, if I had as many troubles in my life as you do, I'd probably kill myself. And I just looked at him and said, if I was you, I'd probably kill myself too, but I'm not. I'm me.
Shade.
Jeez. But anyway, okay. That's the kind of day I've had. or a couple of days.
I
How
should
are
be
you all
dead.
doing?
Yeah, I should be dead based on some of the accidents that I've had in my life, but I don't think I've had quite as bad as luck as you, mate.
No lie though, and this really is my philosophy. Bear knows this because I say it all the time. It really is my philosophy for life. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Mustn't
know,
grumble.
Yeah, life comes at you fast, and you just deal with it.
You know, I've had a lot of accidents in my life, Bloodwing. A lot. I've fallen downstairs. I've fallen off of every type of furniture there is. I've fallen down ladders, both vertical and ones at certain inclines. Into various objects and stuff like that. And I've had a lot of near misses as well. But one of my favorite accidents I ever had was when I was still in the Navy, and we were trying to come into harbor, and the hatch to the place where we keep the ropes and stuff was open, and it has a vertical ladder, and it was wet, and I slipped off it as soon as I set foot on it, and as I fell, I chinned myself on one of the rungs, bounced off the rung, flew back, hit the lock for the hatch, which is a big, thick, very long piece of metal.
Right. Right.
And I bounced off of that, went forward, and then went down the ladder. But I landed on my feet. I was very impressed with myself. Very, very impressed.
Aren't we just a pair? Hey, let's hit that like button, guys. You guys are the king of the great ratios. You are the kings. So let's keep it up. 75 watching, 33 likes. We can get it higher than that.
Zero the hero, how were you still alive, Bear? That's not the worst accident I've had. I mean, there was the one where I went flying down the ladder after coming back from a shower.
Oh, I fell off the roof of the house on more than one occasion.
That's why I'm not getting up there, because I know.
Fortunately, never broke anything doing that. At most, just knocked all the air out of myself, all the wind out. It's not fun.
Yeah, it really isn't, man. And in that particular circumstance, that was probably one of my more embarrassing accidents, because I was coming back from the shower, and all I had was a towel around me and flip-flops. And I was going down this ladder. It wasn't a vertical ladder. It was one at probably 45 degrees. And I slipped off it, and I went flying down and landed on the deck, smashed my head off of this metal guard that was guarding the wires in the compartment, and the towel fell off.
Oh, that reminds me of a story. Okay, you guys are about to get a bonus today. Thank Bear for making me think of something. A bonus story. So
bonus round.
We're going to do a quick story, a bonus one, and then we'll do one at the regular time. When I was about 14 years old, somewhere in that area, you know how teenage boys are. You know, they're very conscious of their bodies. They're, you know, and all of that. Anyway, it was on the weekend. I think it was a Sunday, and I went to go take a bath. I went to go take a bath, so I ran my water ahead of time, and run the bath water, and then come back to it. Come in, stripped off, you know, all my clothes. You don't take a bath with your clothes on, for Pete's sake, unless you're a moron. And jumped in the tub with both feet.
Oh, don't do that.
Unfortunately, I neglected to turn on any cold water.
Oh, no.
I immediately jumped out of the tub screaming. You know, my legs, my feet are just lobster red up to the knees already. Run out of the bathroom and into the front room, stark naked, screaming.
I don't burn my shins.
Now, if you don't know, my dad is, or before he started having issues with his mind, he was the pastor of our church. We had company over for Sunday dinner.
Yes.
Oh, slight embarrassing. At least it was hot water. I didn't have to worry about the shrinkage factor.
Well, there is, there is that. There is that.
Okay, so
I have one more.
go ahead. We can do a whole stream of stories. Nothing says we have to read the news. You know.
That is true. That is true. But I have one more where my friend knocked me out. And I mean, he knocked me the fuck out, son.
Yeah.
It was a snow day where I grew up. And, you know, as teenagers do, we wanted to go sledding.
Yeah.
You know, and I grew up near a place where this huge hill, which has like football pitches on it. It has rugby pitches on it. It's so big, it even has a golf course on it. A fairly small golf course, but still a golf course. And obviously it was caked in snow. No one was playing golf, and there were lots of kids there sledding and trying to slide down the slopes and hills and whatnot. And I went down myself and, you know, fell off and rolled through the snow. I didn't know that my mate was directly behind me, also on a sled, who came down at such incredible speed. He came off the sled, faced towards me. I looked up and he kneed me square in the face. It was like a flying knee kick, being propelled at speed, and he hit me so hard he knocked me the fuck out. I mean, I woke up fairly quickly, but it wasn't pleasant. It wasn't pleasant at all.
Story time number 2, because you've reminded me of a story. It was wintertime years ago. This is before I think I was a teenager. I think at the time, probably 18 years old or something. And it was winter, and we'd had a lot of snow that winter. If I was 18, that would have been 78. So yeah, we had the blizzard of 78, which I'll talk about at some point, but not today. But whatever, we were sledding, and there's a local hill that's called Suicide Hill.
Oh,
which is called that for a reason, because you have to be brave to sled down it, and you have to be even braver to take an inner tube down it on the snow, because, you know, you can't got an inner tube. So my uncle and I and his family went sledding on Suicide Hill, and he brings a great big truck inner tube. You know, like
why do I get the feeling this is one of those moments where you say, "Hey, y'all, watch this"?
Perfect hold my beer moment. So we're sliding down it, and my other uncle was there, his younger brother, and we're having a great time, you know. And yeah, there's some spills and tumbles and whatnot. The thing about Suicide Hill is halfway down, just as you're gathering speed, there's a hump, and you get airborne.
Oh, nice. So you get some airtime out of it as well.
Yep. So my uncle takes a running jump onto the inner tube, and down the hill he goes. He's really flying. He gets that thing a moving. He hits the hump. It goes 10, 15 foot in the air. And when he come down, it bounced him plumb off the inner tube. He went back up 10 feet in the air and come down on his face. So we're all like, okay, well, do we go running down there? Is he all right and everything? Well, he gets up and holds the hand up, you know, I'm okay motion. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. And he takes his time. He kind of looks around, but, you know, he just smashed his face in the snow. He comes walking back up. He finally gets up to the top, and he comes up to me. He gets me aside, and he says, listen, I'm going to tell you something I don't want you to tell anybody.
Did he shit himself?
I said, what is it, Dave? What's going on? He goes, I don't remember anything. He goes, what do you mean you don't remember? I don't remember getting here. I don't remember sledding. I don't remember getting up this morning. I don't remember anything.
Damn.
But don't tell anybody.
Good Greg.
It done knocked the sense right out of him. And to this day, I'm pretty sure he's lost that period of time. But we had fun sledding. Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm just trying to think of one now. The one where the bike fucked me up. I think I've told that one before. Oh, how about a parenting one?
Okay.
When I was a wee burn, I don't know, maybe 11, 10, maybe 12, I had a wooden bunk bed and I used to sleep on the top bunk, and the rungs on the ladder were also made of wood, slippery wood at that, varnished wood. And I made the decision to try to get down to go to the toilet, and I rather stupidly tried to go down the vertical ladder facing away from the ladder. I think I got down 4 rungs before my feet came off the ladder. Me and ladders, right? To which point I slipped, reached out with my arms, and crucified myself on the ladder. And I was hung there by my armpits at the top of this bunk bed, screaming because it really hurt.
Yeah.
Then my mum managed, she heard me scream. She came running into the bedroom. I managed to hook myself off and throw myself onto the floor. And my mum doesn't like cursing.
Right.
She's just like you.
Right.
And she punished that, often with violence. And I was on the floor and she went, "Alex, are you okay? Are you okay?" And I went, "Of course I'm not fucking okay." And she took off her slipper in one motion and cracked me across the head with it. I cried.
I could, oh, good Lord, I could go on. This reminds me of so many stories. But if I start telling them now, I won't have any to tell on story time for future episodes.
Zombie Teddy, so this is why you like ramps. Yes, it is.
But I tell you what I'm going to do is we're going to get to the news here in just a minute. But first, if anybody guessed 40 minutes, you're correct. I'm going to the bathroom.
Oh, little nigger, typical black mums. Yeah, my mum's a lot darker than I am as well. And yeah, she was very much big mama. In fact, she was big mama of the estate I lived on as well, because when I was growing up, there weren't many black people in the area that I lived in. Not until I got a bit older, but yeah, she was one of the few big black mamas wandering around, so. But yeah, I think I've told that story before. Yeah, my mum used to kick my ass if I cursed or anything like that. Or if I did something wrong, I'd usually get my ass beat. I mean, she once threw a Hoover pipe at me, sent me to the store to go get her cigarettes, because back in the day, that's when you could do things like that. And I lost the money on the way there, and I came back very sheepishly, and I looked through the front door. She was halfway up the hallway vacuuming, and told her I lost the money. She took the pipe off the vacuum. If you can dodge a vacuum tube, you can dodge a ball. Yeah, mum. My mum used to kick my ass back in the day. Bear, what's going on with your government? I don't even know at this point. My mum beat my ass with a hanger. Oh, because hangers are metal ones as well. They're usually quite thin. That would have stung. Good grief, you whip your ass with a metal coat. I assume it was a metal coat hanger. Oof. That would really hurt. I've been hit with one of them before. Let's try to think of other stuff that's happened to me. I've been hit in the face with a rifle before. I mean, it was an accident, but I was still hit in the face with a rifle. That hurt quite a bit. The first time I ever went into a mosh pit, I took quite the blow to the side of my head, actually. And I was quite small when I was a teenager. So when I used to go to mosh pits and stuff, there's a guy there who just liked me a lot, and he used to pick me up and use me as a weapon in the pit. And more often than not, it would be my head that collided with people. I've had a lot of blows to the head in my life, is what I'm trying to say, guys. A lot.
That
of fucking
explains a
blows.
lot.
Well, I told you the Pizza Hut story, didn't I?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah, I managed to crack my head down the center. I ain't been right since.
In my defense, guys, I know I went kind of early today. I have been slamming the coffee even more than usual. I was telling Bear before the stream, you might have to nudge me because I'm really tired today.
It's all good. We could take it slow, mate.
With all the events of the last couple of days and then wife waking me up. And I'm one of those people, if you wake me up, I don't care how much sleep I've had, I'm awake, at least for the time being. I might go back to bed an hour later, but for right now, I'm awake. I can't just wake up and then go right back to sleep. So I've been slamming the coffee. Plus, it's pouring down rain outside, and rainy days always make me sleepy.
I do like rainy days, though.
I like them to sleep.
Yeah. I like the sound of the wind and the rain hitting the window. And we're very relaxing. It's ASMR, you know?
Yeah. It's when my folks had a cabin out in the country, it had a tin roof on it. Oh my gosh, was it great for sleeping?
I can imagine.
Rain, but
is YouTube chat going to work for me now? There we go. There we go.
All right.
It wasn't working for me before.
Let's see if we can't take a gander at the news a little bit.
Do you have something?
I do have a couple of stories. I know you've got some things.
Yeah, I grabbed a couple before we started.
I haven't looked at these. I've just looked at headlines, so we'll be experiencing them at the same time. Nancy Pelosi just threw some serious shade at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's Green New Deal.
Go on then.
Wait for it to open here. Sorry, guys. My computer is not much better than a boat anchor. Thursday is a big day for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the New York freshman Democrat who has rapidly become one of the biggest stars in her party, will formally introduce her much-touted Green New Deal, a package of legislation aimed at, among other things, addressing the threat posed by climate change. Nancy Pelosi isn't all that impressed. Asked about the Green New Deal in an interview with Politico on Wednesday, Pelosi dropped this amazing bit of shade on it. It will be one of several or maybe many suggestions that we receive. The Green Dream, or whatever they call it, nobody knows what it is, but they're for it, right? That's her words, not mine. I mean... Pelosi knows exactly what she's doing here. Her utter dismissiveness of the Green New Deal and, by extension, AOC, who is the member most closely identified with, is entirely intentional. Pelosi knows that AOC is a rising national power, particularly among the most activist and liberal left. Given Ocasio-Cortez's profile and her influence among young liberal members, Pelosi knows she can't just ignore what the New York Democrat says and does, but she isn't going to kowtow to AOC either. Earlier this year, Ocasio-Cortez was passed over for a spot in the Powerful Ways and Means Committee, despite the fact that Joe Crowley, who she beat in a primary last summer, had a seat on Ways and Means. That decision didn't come by accident, and it didn't come without Pelosi knowing about it and likely directing it. On climate in particular, Pelosi's umbrage about the Green New Deal and AOC is likely rooted in the fact that the California Democrat has long been a leading voice on global warming and climate change issues. She referred to it as her flagship issue in the Politico interview. The idea that because Ocasio-Cortez has lent her name and support the Green New Deal, then Pelosi has to suddenly change her legislative plans on how to address climate change is anathema to Pelosi. One wonders whether AOC's decision to participate in a sit-in at Pelosi's office during new member orientation late last year to draw attention to the Green New Deal didn't sit too well with the speaker either. Asked about the proposal on Thursday, Pelosi struck a less dismissive tone. Quite frankly, I haven't seen it, but I do know that it's enthusiastic, and we welcome all the enthusiasm that's out there, she said at her weekly news conference. I'm very excited about it all, and I welcome the Green New Deal and any other proposals. Nice job with the back pedal there, Nancy.
So what's in the deal? Because I think I heard Monkey speak about it. It's meant to be like creating high-tech jobs and attract like green industry, like high-tech green industry and stuff. I've not heard much about it.
I've not looked into it in great detail. I just know cursory stuff about it. And my question is, is the question I have with a lot of what Cortez says. Who's going to pay for this?
Mm-hmm. But we all know the answer to that question already, don't we?
Yeah, they seem to think that money just appears out of thin air sometimes. Donation, hold on, come on, reload, you slow, before I throw you in the river. Thank you, Prospero, for the donation. She says not to mention, oops, sorry, did already. I guess I need to read the comments before I start talking, huh? Sorry, sweetheart, but thank you. Yeah, I don't know every detail. Chat probably knows more about it than I do at this point. I've seen a little bit about it this morning. And I thought, well, maybe I should start reading up on it. But it was between that and playing video games. I decided to play video games for a couple of hours. So.
Yeah, fair play, mate. She wants to ban all fossil fuels.
Yeah. The thing I find most hilarious about that is, of course, as most of you are aware, Nancy Pelosi is the de facto leader of the Democratic Party in the United States at this point.
And she's throwing shade at one of her own.
Yeah.
It's not a good look when they do things like that. I mean, fair. I think you should be able to criticize your own.
Exactly.
But it doesn't look good on the party. You know, the media love it when parties, sort of fracture and split on certain things because it makes them look weak overall.
The True Master Cole, what games does Blood play? I play a little bit of everything. This morning I was playing Ark. I was playing single player on Ark. But yeah, I play a little. I play Skyrim. I play Borderlands. I play the Civilization games. Love the Civilization games. I play a little bit of everything. Prospero says the aircraft ban is the funniest thing to her. And I did see some about that. I guess she wants to get fast trains fast enough and working well enough that aircraft become a thing of the past. Good luck with that. First of all, this is the United States, and we historically do not don't welcome things like that too easily. Like I know in Europe you have bullet trains and supersonic jets, or at least you did at one point, the SST and all that stuff. We don't jump on that bandwagon. Rail travel's not that big here at all. In some cities, yes, but overall in the nation, no. You're not going to get rid of aircraft travel. People are just too lazy. Our country is too big, and people want to get to from point A to point B with as little fuss as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just find it really funny that her own party, and this isn't the first we've heard of it, people from her own party like looking at her like, really? Really?
That is funny. That is, but she is the darling of the Dems at the moment.
Well, she's the darling of the far left faction.
Well, yeah.
And her face when Trump during the State of the Union said, "We will never be a socialist nation."
I've seen the memes. She's right moody
Oh my gosh.
I still have yet to watch that.
I haven't either. Honestly, I quit watching State of the Union addresses some time ago because honestly, I get bored with political speeches. I do. I get bored with them. I'll be honest with you. And if you know me, that's saying something, because I've often, and I truly believe this, I've never been really bored a day in my life. There's just always been too much going on in my head. I can sit in a dark room and stare into the darkness and be perfectly content because there's just too much going on in my head all the time. But the closest I get to bored is listening to a political speech. My mind wanders. I start to nod off. So I usually read the cliff notes after.
Fair play.
Fair
play.
Let's see here. Oh, I won't read the story, but here's Ozzy Osbourne hospitalized for complications from the flu. Good Lord, I didn't think there'd be any flu that would touch him. This man's full of so many drugs over the years.
Yeah, you think his body just be immune to it at this point.
I mean, fair play to him. He survived a whole lot longer than most anybody would have gave him credit for it. But
yeah, how old is Ozzy these days?
Well, let's see.
He must be getting on a bit.
I'm nearly 60. I'll be 60 in a year. He's at least 10 years older than I am. So, yeah, so he's getting up there. Still can't understand a single word he says unless he's singing.
He is a brummie, though, so it's kind of understandable.
I mean, when he talks, it comes out like,
Rote Sharon.
What cracks me up is I've seen people comment, wow, I didn't know he was the lead singer for Black Sabbath. I thought he was just the star of a reality TV show. Seriously?
He was born in 1948.
So just a few years after my mother. My mother was born in 42. So.
He's older than my mum.
Yeah.
By 7 years, I think.
My dad was born in 39, and he'll be 80 this May. And Mom was born in 42, so yeah, not a whole lot younger than her.
Prospero's saying she's 70.
Do what?
I think Prospero's saying that she's 70.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prospero.
And I'm at the time of my life where 70 years, when you're younger, 70 sounds impossibly old, but it don't sound so bad right now. Since it's only 10 years away, and I'm at that age that I realize 10 years ain't nothing. It's briefer than that sneeze that the bear just give.
Don't say things like that. Like, I turn 31 next month, which means I'm just slightly over 9 years away from being middle-aged.
Oh, baloney! You're just now becoming an adult. Middle-aged. Depending on who's doing the accounting, I'm still middle-aged, and I'll be 59 next month. So,
you're Cretaceous. Fucking boomer.
Yeah. ANCAP Jack, what of AOC's socialist policies would kickstart a civil war? At what point do the 3%ers take action? I think action will be taken, but I'm not a believer that there's an imminent civil war. There's just far too many. And I've done a video, if you guys want to look for it, it's on my channel. I've done a video explaining my opinions on whether there could be a civil war in the United States. There's just way too many things that would have to happen. A culture war, yes, and we're seeing that now, but of actual physical shooting guns at one another, the country divided, this side against that side, yeah. I really
one might call it an information war.
Yeah. But yeah. It's under a small series of videos that I did. What did I call those? Old Fart's Opinion or something like that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Those are actually the videos, because most of them historical in nature, that I'm the most proud of. I really am proud of those videos. But yeah, All right. So next story.
You know, Bloods, we're on the topic of age.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I'm 30 and stuff, and I'm nearly 31.
Right.
I think I'd be quite content if I died now, because I have way more life experience than a lot of people I know that are around the same age as me. I've been to 22 different countries. I've tried lots of different cultures and foods, and I've done a lot. I've done a lot in my life, actually.
I've done a thing or two.
I know you have, yeah.
A thing or two. All right, let's
Some
see.
of the
Next.
stories you told me, I don't think you'll ever talk publicly about them, but there's one or two in my mind that I'm like, God damn.
there are some that, yeah, I can't tell in public. I just can't. Yeah. Next story. Police refute Cindy McCain's claim a child at airport was trafficked by a woman of different ethnicity.
Say that again, sorry?
Police refute Cindy McCain's claim a child at airport was trafficked by a woman of a different ethnicity.
Okay.
That's hard to say with false teeth, so I'm sorry if I mumbled that there. And then in quotes under that, by God, she was trafficking that kid, McCain said of a woman she reported at Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport.
Say that again?
My God, she was trafficking that kid.
Good grief.
Cindy McCain believed she had helped thwart a child trafficking case when she saw a toddler with a woman of a different ethnicity at Phoenix's airport, but police said that's not what happened. McCain, who sits on the advisory council of the McCain Institute, founded by her late husband, Senator John McCain, made the claim Monday while talking about sex trafficking during the Super Bowl on the Mac and Gatos radio show on KTAR News 92.3 FM. If you see something, say something. This is her quote.
Back in a second, mate. Sorry.
Okay. That very thing happened to me at the Phoenix airport last Friday, McCain said, referring to Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. McCain said she was coming home from a trip when she spotted it looked odd. It was a woman of a different ethnicity than the child, this little toddler she had. Something didn't click with me. I went over to the police and I told them what I thought, and they went over and they questioned her, McCain said. And by God, she was trafficking that kid. She was waiting for the guy who bought the child to get off of an airplane, she added. But a Phoenix police spokesman told NBC News that while they did perform a welfare check at Sky Harbor Airport at McCain's request, officers determined there was no evidence of criminal conduct or child endangerment. McCain has not explained what caused her to believe she had caught a trafficking case, but wrote on Twitter on Wednesday, at Phoenix Sky Harbor, I reported an incident that I thought was trafficking. I commend the police officers for their diligence. I apologize if anything else I have said on this matter distracts from. If you see something, say something. McCain co-chairs the Arizona Human Trafficking Council and largely works to combat human trafficking. The McCains adopted one of their 4 children, Bridget McCain, from Bangladesh. Which makes it even worse. I mean, it's pretty obvious what happened here. She looked, and the kid was a different color of the adult with her, and that threw a red flag up in her mind.
Wow.
I mean, I don't even know what to say. I guess I'm in trouble if I'm out in public with my family, because as most of you know, I have 10 grandchildren. 4 of them are half black. 4 of them are half Apache Indian. Only 2 are completely white. You know, so I guess I'd be in trouble. Is somebody going to turn me in?
I often think I'll get in trouble when I'm walking around with my stepson because he's a pale white. He's like transparent at this point, and he's ginger. You know, I often think someone's going to stop me driving him to school or something. You know.
Yeah, I just, oh Lord, let's be honest. John McCain was losing it in his last years. That was obvious to anybody with eyeballs. And it sounds like maybe his wife is starting to go through the same thing. I don't know. But anyway, do you have any regular news stories, Bear? Because I've got one not so regular.
I wouldn't describe them as regular.
Okay.
If you want any of them, that is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let me just pop the chat out so I can see it as I'm reading. Okay. Michelle Rodriguez says Liam Neeson can't be racist because of the way he kissed Viola Davis in Widows. So there's one person from Hollywood who's sticking up for him,
right,
but basing it on his kiss with an actress from a movie. And Mike in the chat there, Bloodwing is working towards monetization on the channel. That's why there isn't the super chat option. But if you would like to support Bloodwing, you can do so by dropping a like on the stream. You can share it, and of course, you can make a donation via Streamlabs.
And if you just really have to, you can drop a dislike, like the two people that have. I mean, it's all interaction, folks. It does not bother me. But yeah, I don't have super. I have applied for it, but you not only have to have more than 1,000 subs, you have to have so many view hours within the last, 30 days, Bear?
And, I don't know.
And I haven't qualified for that yet, but I have applied for it. So as soon as I qualify, there will be super chats.
I did not tell P. Davis to dislike the stream. I said, like it.
And there's a third dislike.
You fucking animals.
Guys, you don't know who you're up against. I am not an easily triggered dude. Here's my philosophy. If you don't like me, that's your problem, not mine.
Simius of Thebes, no one's going to believe you that because I don't have money.
Yeah.
I know how to trigger you, old man.
You know how to get me going on a rant, but to upset me? Nah.
I bet I could.
I don't know. It's pretty hard.
I mean,
the only ones that
can
really upset me are my own family, you know.
Aye. Let's continue reading. Michelle Rodriguez, who's from the Fast and Furious franchise, for those who don't know, and also the movie SWAT, which it's not a bad movie, very high octane action, attested that her Widows co-star, Liam Neeson, is not a racist because of how he kissed Viola Davis during that movie. Well, personally, I don't think he's a racist based on what he said. Not really that scene, but okay, if you want to use that as a defense. The actress came to Neeson's defense Wednesday, at least somebody is, night at the Amphar Gala in the wake of Neeson's racially charged comments that he wanted to kill a black bastard to avenge a friend who had been raped. The actor later apologized and contended that his comments were taken out of context. He apologized for, telling a story in which he stopped being hateful towards a particular group of people. That's fucking sad. It's all fucking bullshit. Liam Neeson is not a racist, Rodriguez told Vanity Fair at the New York event. Dude, have you watched Widows? His tongue was so far down Viola Davis's throat. You can't call him a racist ever. Racists don't make out with the race that they hate, especially in the way he does with his tongue. So deep down her throat. I don't care how good of an actor you are. It's all bullshit. Ignore it. He's not a racist. He's a loving man. It's all lies.
Yeah.
We live in a strange time, Bloodwing.
We do. I mean, here's what happened with Liam Neeson in a nutshell, without going over the whole story again, because everybody's familiar with it. He made a snap judgment because he was angry and he lashed out, and then he walked it back. He realized that was stupid and he walked it back.
Well, it's two levels, really, that it needs to be looked at. It needs to be looked at on two separate levels. First of all, it's kind of like that revenge blowing up, snap decision that that you tend to make in the heat of the moment, which everybody does at least one point in their lives. Hey, Pat. And he admitted to holding prejudiced views during that time, and obviously he was a young Irishman. It's my cat that you can hear meowing.
It's not mine because I don't have any kitty cats. My wife is allergic, so
it's the Downs cat that's meowing. Yeah, so I mean, he grew up in a different time, and then he stopped having those opinions.
Yeah,
and he moved past it, and he doesn't hold those opinions anymore. That's what he said. Well, but that makes him racist.
Here's the thing: I am not. I don't hold very many prejudices. I don't hold any racial prejudices whatsoever, as far as I'm aware. If I have any, I don't know about them. And the reason is my parents specifically raised me without them. And here's why. My dad grew up during the Depression in the South. He had at that time, he held very racist views. They all did. And he knew that racism was taught. So he made a conscious effort not to teach his kids racism. And because he knows it's very hard to unlearn.
Yeah.
Once it's ingrained, it's hard to unlearn, which he did, but it was a struggle. So if we're not allowed to walk back a bad decision or a bad statement, my gosh, where are we at in this society?
It's pretty sad, really. Coming out and telling people about some stupid shit that you did as a kid, or as a young man, and saying, I was wrong. I was wrong to do what I did, and I was wrong to hold those views and said the things that I did, and I don't hold those views anymore. You think people would celebrate something like that in the current year?
Yep.
But no.
My dad's not old enough to be a Confederate. Like I said earlier, he will be 80 this May. So yeah. Who among us has not said something in the heat of the moment that we regretted later?
Oh, of course.
And if anybody says they haven't, you're a freaking liar. We've all done or said those things in the heat of the moment without thinking, and then thought, okay, that was dumb.
Unless you can't talk.
Well, no, but you thought it.
P Dog Knight says he has it. You liar.
Oh crap.
Oh
crap.
Exactly. We've all said and done stupid shit that we came to regret later.
And probably the most shining example of that is something I'd done is I got mad at my wife one time and I punched the wall rather than punch her. I punched the wall and immediately heard my hand snap. Broke my hand. And before the pain even set in, which it did, oh my God, it set in, I went, that was stupid. I was so embarrassed that I literally took 3 days to go to the doctor. My hand swelled up to the size of a soccer ball. Ridiculous. But
Tress says that she regrets nothing. I have regrets, There are things that I don't regret, like stealing a cherry picker when I was drunk in Scotland once. But there are things that I do, and I ain't never making those.
Most things that count. Most things about who I really am as a person, most things that count. No, I don't regret anything, but I've made mistakes. I've said things that weren't exactly right. I've thought things that weren't exactly right. And I can't believe that I'm that much different than anybody else. But by and large, overall, those things that make me, yeah, I don't have any regrets about that.
I have regrets, personal regrets, but I ain't telling you about it. So
yeah, well, yeah.
That's my business.
Okay,
I've learned from them, so I won't ever do them again. It's as simple as that. I have another story.
go
If
for it.
you'd like one.
Good for it.
All the Indian people in town cost me re-election. George Washington impersonator says.
All the Indian people. Are we talking American Indian or people from India?
It's got to be like American Indian.
Yeah.
American history teaches we should expect Washington, the father of a country of immigrants from around the world. So when Sam Davis, a well-known George Washington impersonator, blamed all the Indian people in his town for denying him a second term on the Chesterfield Township Committee, and then called for a criminal investigation, alleging a 117 vote margin was tallied because illegal immigrants voted, many were disappointed. Balveer Singh. It actually maybe actual Indians, not American Indians. That sounds very corner shoppy.
That's racist.
Yeah, I know. The first Indian American elected to the county freeholder board said Tuesday he thought Davis's claims were racist. If you want to be prejudiced against a group of people based on their ethnicity, that's the textbook definition of racist, Singh said. Singh said, but the Indians are so nice, though. Yeah. Okay. Singh said Tuesday the Burlington County Prosecutor's Office told him Davis had requested an investigation, but they determined it had no merit. Joel Bewley, a spokesman for the prosecutor, said in an email he cannot discuss the potential existence of an investigation into election results. Davis, who was featured in 2013 Star Ledger documentary about George Washington impersonators, was defeated by political newcomer Shrikant Dopti in the general election in November. Dopti won in the three-candidate race. This township is of just under 8,000 south of Trenton. Davis allegedly demanded the investigation and rattled off a rant on recent social media posts alleging the election was swung by mail-in ballots from people of Indian descent who were not citizens. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. But George Washington actor. Yeah. A racist forefather. Imagine that. I mean, let's be honest. They all were. I don't deny that. It still doesn't take away from the fact that they were great people, you know.
Well, it's like the whole thing with Winston Churchill. The left over here have been trying to sully his legacy in the last couple of months or so.
He was racist.
Yeah, of course.
You and I have had discussions about Churchill. I'm very well versed in Churchill. He was a racist, but you have to look at historical figures within context of the time they lived.
Mm-hmm. That's no excuse, though, Bloodwing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we have to think like it's 2019, even when it's 1856.
It's so sad. Winston Churchill was a great wartime prime minister, who was was integral to the counterattack on Germany, and a great leader overall, and a great member of parliament, who was a liberal, and that should overshadow the more negative parts of his life.
Exactly. He was the exact perfect person to be in charge of the UK during World War II, just like FDR. And I've got a lot of issues with FDR, trust me. Don't get me started on FDR. But he was the right guy for the job during World War II.
The right guy for the right time.
Right. And they both worked. They were pretty good buddies.
Yeah, I still feel when you told me about what happened with FDR and Churchill, like I'm really, I have a lot of empathy for FDR.
Well, he's seen Churchill naked. That is a fact. And I'll just leave that there and see what kind of images that puts in people's mind.
Trez is telling me that Thomas Jefferson wasn't a racist.
Well, maybe not, but he did own slaves. You know. I don't know. I wasn't there. I couldn't tell you. I can only go by what history tells us and what they wrote and so forth. But none of that, my point is not whether or not they were all racist, but my point is none of that takes away from the point that they were great thinkers and they were great people in their own right, taken
I don't
within
care.
context.
It's
Yeah.
like, I don't care. They're dead.
Yeah. What about Richard Nixon? I am not a hater of Richard Nixon. Did he do some bad things? Yes, but they were bad things they were all doing. He just was dumb enough to get caught.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at his policies, Nixon done some very great things, and I won't get all off on that. But he got us out of Nam. He greatly increased relations with China, which had not happened since the communists took over up to that point. He done a lot of great things, but all that anybody's ever going to remember about Nixon is Watergate.
Yeah, when I read, and people might be surprised that I did this, but I read Stanley Tookie Williams' book, his autobiography. If you don't know who he is, he was the guy who started the Crips gang back in the 70s. And at the very start of his book, he has a quote from Richard Nixon that was a secret quote about him wanting to subvert the black community.
Oh, he was a paranoid. He had mental issues. I won't.
I don't know how true that is, though. I don't know how true it is. I'm just saying.
I would not doubt it. He was very paranoid. But I tell you what, his predecessor, a Democrat, LBJ, was far more racist than he was.
Mm.
And he's credited with the civil rights movement. So yeah, there's always more sides to the story than one. Trez says Thomas loved his black women more than his wife. Actually, yeah, I have heard that, Trez. I have heard that. But yeah, who cares? Who cares if they were racist?
Fair play to him.
Let's look at the what good they did.
He liked his hot chocolate.
LBJ Prospero, yes, LBJ was a huge racist. He was.
Yeah.
Jenna P, am I near Lapel? I am on opposite sides of Indianapolis from Lapel, Indiana, and I'll just leave it at. I don't want to give too many clues as to where I live. I mean, Indianapolis is a city of almost 1 million people. Good luck trying to find me there. But I don't want to make it any easier on people than it might be.
Oh, yeah, because a little nigger in the chat there saying that he's a big fan of Redcoats. It's funny because when I was in high school, we didn't learn about the Revolutionary War or the War of 1812. What do you mean? Of course not. Like
that was your Vietnam.
Yeah, but we learned about we still learned about things when we got our asses kicked, like Dunkirk, for example. We got our asses handed to us there. We still learn about other aspects of British history where we got spanked. I don't understand why we didn't learn about that. But it reminds me that I asked you quite a while ago to make a video.
I have not forgot about the Civil War. I haven't forgot. I've actually worked on some of the script. I just got to find the right time.
I want my educational Bloodwing video.
Yeah. Because I got to be prepared to do it because it will be controversial. Because the Civil War in America, anytime it's talked about, is controversial.
Well, there's the Civil War as well. I asked you to do both.
Right.
And
7076
will commence again. The War of 1812 and the Civil War.
Yeah. You actually kind of kicked our butt in 1812, but we ended up winning it. Again,
we had the Armored Moose Battalion, didn't we? Because we came from the north.
Well, you burned our capital.
Yeah, wow, yeah. Turned it into the Black House.
But
it's funny because Sean's saying that I still need to make a video about the proper way to make tea.
Right.
The thing is, the way that I make tea is controversial in the UK.
P. Davis, I am curious.
Says I'm a heathen for the way I make it.
I'm curious, as a UK person, on your opinion on your last president. I assume you're talking about Obama, the drone lord. Um, I seen a comment earlier that Obama's racist. I do agree. And which was always boggled my mind because Obama was not the first black president. He's the first biracial president. Let's get it straight. But he kind of denied his white side, so that amazes me. My opinion of him, it's not very high.
I do not use a microwave, Trez.
Yeah, it's not very high. But and I'll leave it at that. I there's a lot of things I don't like Obama, like Obamacare. Don't get me started. But yeah. So I'm going to go ahead with this story that I have, even though I really kind of don't want to, because of, well, you'll know when I read it.
Okay.
My experience with it. Lawyer causes court evacuation after abundance of bed bugs pours from his suit.
Oh, wow.
Now, for those of you that don't know, I've had experience with bed bugs. And just to be, for the sake of clarity, I still do. And we've been fumigated, and it's a big problem. I'll go more into that once I read the story. A lawyer caused a courtroom to evacuate when he arrived with an abundance of bed bugs falling off his suit. The Rogers County Courthouse in Oklahoma shut down Monday after the third-floor courtroom became overrun with the blood-sucking insects. Hard to imagine someone doesn't know, that some bed bugs are crawling all over them, certainly in abundance. Rogers County Sheriff Scott Walton told KJRH News. It's hard for me to say radio stations that start with a K. And you may not know this, Bear, but east of the Mississippi, radio stations, TV stations start with a W. West of the Mississippi, they start with a K.
All right.
It's just odd for my tongue because here I'm used to saying W. But anyway. According to Walton, another person who was in court first saw the bugs on the lawyer, who has remained unnamed. A courthouse user noticed them and said she could visibly see something crawling on his neck, which was later found to be bed bugs, he said. He had also placed his jacket over some file folders, and when his jacket was moved, bed bugs were discovered there. The courthouse's head of security, Mike Clark, said the lawyer was incredibly casual about the infestation of bugs living in his suit and did not even appear to notice. I don't even think he cared, Clark said.
Is he not itching?
Well, they don't affect everybody the same way. Some people have more of a reaction to their bites than others. The building was evacuated and pest control was called in to exterminate the bugs. We cleared the courtroom, but we also had inmates in the courtroom, which caused concern. So at that time, we evacuated everyone from the courtroom, Clark said. We are certainly not happy with someone coming in that condition to inconvenience everyone else in that building. The courthouse opened back up Tuesday morning after the building was treated for the contamination. It has not been confirmed yet who the lawyer was, or if this was a genius yet disgusting stunt to get his case delayed.
I reckon it was that.
If he set it up and exposed himself to bed bugs, he's a bigger idiot than what I think he is, because it only takes one of them to hitchhike home with you before you're infested. I have a little bit of empathy for this guy because I've had them. I was raised in the back of my mind. I always thought that bed bugs were, only dirty people had bed bugs. That's not true. For those of you that don't know, my state is almost in a state of emergency because of the bed bug problem. Rich people, poor people, everybody, even our hospitals have bed bugs.
It happens.
It's just rampant, and it only takes one, and they are masters at hitchhiking and hiding. Now, with the amount of them he had on him when it talked about, there are measures you can take to try to make sure that you don't bring them with you, like putting your clothes in the dryer, stuff like that before and putting them on at the last minute. But even that's not a guarantee that you won't drag any with you. It's just not. Little Niggers says, how big are bed bugs? They're about the size of a tick when they're full grown, but they're all sizes. Sometimes they're so small you can't even hardly see them. Now, I happen to be a person that has a very serious reaction to the bites. I get big whelps. Went to a bed bug bite. My wife, when she got bit, would barely notice them. It's a big problem. And it's expensive. At the least amount you're looking at is $3,000. It's $3,000 to $6,000 to get fumigated, and it's still not a guarantee that you'll get rid of them. I'd much rather have cockroaches, the nasty things, than have bed bugs, because they are so hard to get rid of. And the problem is you don't realize you have them by the time you start noticing that you're getting bit. And they're not just in your bed, folks. They get in your furniture, they get in your carpet, they get in your clothes, they get everywhere. By the time you realize you have them, it's already too late. You're infested. It's not just me, Festering Wound. I understand that sentiment, and I almost didn't mention it because it is embarrassing. Bear knows it's not news to him because we talk about it sometimes, you know. But it's an embarrassment, even though it's not my fault. We figured the grandkids brought them home from school, but it could be anything. You could go sit in a restaurant where somebody that's had them has sat and pick one up on you and bring them home, and you got them.
Yeah.
You know, they're just very hard to control. The most common way that they combat it now, and this will cost you $6,000, was that you leave the house for a couple of days. They bring industrial heaters into your house and turn the heat up to 160 degrees Fahrenheit.
Heat blast.
It's hot enough to melt your blinds. I know, because it melted ours.
Oh, no.
And also melted the linoleum floor in the kitchen. Yeah. So, yeah. Hope, if you don't have them, you've never experienced it, hope you never do. Well, it's not just Indiana, ANCAP Jack. It's a really... I've done a lot of research into it since I had initially got them, and to try to figure out how to get rid of them and what to do, and, you know, how to recognize them and so forth. It's not just Indiana. They are typically in places that they never were before because of the heat and the cold. It's rampant through the U.S., but you won't hear the news talk about that. You just won't hear them.
Last year.
Yeah.
I don't think fleas are as bad, but they still get everywhere, and they're quite difficult to kill. You don't need to spend that amount of money to get rid of it. You can do it on your own with like these sprays you can get off Amazon for like £10 a pop. Sprays are quite good because you can spray your animals with them as well.
Yeah.
And you just open all the doors and windows in your house, and the cold should kill them. But it took ages, man, to get rid of them.
They're showing up in Arizona and New Mexico, areas of the country that typically have never had a problem with them because it's too hot. It's just it's really ridiculous. But yeah, it's in the research that I done, it has stated more than once that bed bugs infestation has been linked to depression and suicide.
Damn.
And I can understand it. It becomes so miserable that you just would rather kill yourself than deal with it.
That's a lot of money as well to clear your house.
Yeah. And yes, they are adapting, NCAP Jack. They are resistant to so many poisons. There's very little that'll help. If you spot one, you can use a 90% alcohol solution. You know, by rubbing alcohol, and if you've never paid attention, you can read on the label what percentage rubbing alcohol it is. Most that you buy is 70%, but you can buy 90%. Have you been to the drugstore lately and noticed that they sell alcohol now in spray bottles? That is the reason, because it's an insta-kill, but it has to be on contact.
Ah.
But yeah.
Mm.
Go through your neighborhood, see how many houses have old furniture sitting out front for the trash to pick up. Dollars to Donuts, they got bed bugs. So, yeah.
It's making me really itchy talking about all this.
I know, and I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring the stream down, but I wanted to give like a PSA for people because I have mixed emotions about the article I just read. I feel for the guy. It is embarrassing. But if he was that infested with him when he went in, there are steps he could have taken that it wouldn't have been that bad before he went to court.
Mm.
You know,
I'm not complaining, mate. I'm just saying I'm feeling a bit itchy. Yeah, I feel like I got shit crawling in my hair too, and Cab Jack. But no, it's important information. It's important information people should know.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Flip your mattress, guys, when you change your bed. That helps as well. That's
yeah. Every night I go to bed, I pick my mattress up, check under it. I pick my bed springs up, look under it, check behind the headboards, take the covers and put them in the dryer for about 15 minutes.
God, that's one hell of a routine.
That's my nightly routine.
Flipping your mattress as well does help as well. It suffocates them to death. So,
but they are ornery little boogers. They are very adept at hiding, and they're fast. They're scary fast.
Vortex, yeah. The more you know, right? Absolutely.
So yeah. I figure forewarned, is forearmed, and yeah. Just be aware there is a quiet epidemic of bed bugs going on in this country, but you won't hear about it on the news. And the information that I have comes from local social workers, because we were trying to get help get monetary help in getting fumigated for them. And the lady I talked to, that's all she does. She's constantly kept busy. More appointments than she can do is check on bed bug infestations. She said the rich neighborhoods, poor neighborhoods, it don't matter.
Well, at least the rich people can pay for the bloody fumigation.
Yeah.
There you go, mate. Buy yourself a fumigation company.
There you go. Yeah, it's a racket.
You capitalize on that shit.
Yeah. If you do get bed bugs and infested, count on anywhere between $3,000 to $6,000.
Dettol's good stuff, Josephine. I love the smell of Dettol as well. Clinical stuff. There's even a Dettol bubble bath I've heard as well. You can basically bathe in it. 99.9999% of all disgusting things, including you if you drink it.
Yeah. So have you got anything else, Bear?
I do.
Let's change the subject. That's depressing and sickening, and I gave everybody the creepy crawlies. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. Speaking of creepy crawlies, Florida politician accused of licking faces has resigned.
Read that again.
I thought I'd have to reread it. Florida politician accused of licking faces has resigned.
Licking faces.
You look at this lady. She looks like the sort of bird who goes into the supermarket
it's
and shouts at the... Yes, a woman. Yeah, she looks like the sort of chick that walks into the supermarket and shouts at the fruit and veg.
Oh, you look tasty. Can I taste you?
Just want to have a lick. Madeira Beach, Florida, Commissioner Nancy Oakley is being accused of sexually harassing a former city manager. The Florida Commission on Ethics issued a report on its findings that Oakley possibly violated state law because she was exhibiting inappropriate behavior when she licked the city manager tournament in 2012. Must be the smell of fish, I guess. The report said there was testimony from multiple witnesses saying Oakley also touched the then city manager inappropriately and that she was intoxicated. Oh, she's one of them, is she? She's one of those really loving drunks that goes around kissing and hugging and licking everybody. Must be. The city manager didn't report the incident out of fear of losing his job, the Commission of Ethics reports. He filed a formal complaint against Oakley in 2017, hashtag him too, when she filed for re-election. Oh, dirty bastard waited for re-election time. Upon election, she and another commissioner and the newly elected mayor suspended the city manager, who says they knew the ethics complaint against Oakley was pending. According to the Miami Herald, Oakley resigned to avoid being fired. Since the issue was brought to light in public, others have said Oakley behaved in a similar manner toward them, according to the Miami Herald. The sponsor of the fishing tournament, where Oakley allegedly licked the city manager, said she had licked his face and the faces of volunteers at other fishing tournaments.
Real quick, thank you for the donation, Toasted Network. Want free crap, but don't want to pay tax. Don't want to vote for a socialist, like killing babies, but don't like women making choices. Want to create internet police endorsed by drunken uncle. Vote Toasted. Paid for by Toasted Dad credit card.
What's Vanilla Bear in Florida recently? Vanilla Bear doesn't lick people. She has a bad habit of getting quite aggressive, actually, when she's drunk.
My grandson, when he was about 6 or 7 years old, would run around and lick people because he thought it was funny when they say, get out of here. But yeah, I don't think I've heard of adults that do that.
Well, they do in Florida, Bloodwing, and they're politicians and they're running the state.
Barrett, talk for just a minute. I've got to go a second time. This is a 2-piece stream.
Oh, I should have bet down on a double whammy. Never mind.
I'll be right back.
What's going on, chat? Remember, guys, if you want to support Bloodwing, the old crazy coot, Redneck, you can do so by dropping a like on the stream, sharing it out to your favorite social media platforms. And of course, if you'd like to go one step further and help the old Redneck out, you can do so via Patreon, and Streamlabs links are in the description. He would really, really appreciate it if you did do that, guys. Thank you very much. So I have another piece of news. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Zero. Fuck you, Ira. Fuck you too, Demon Lord, you piece of shit. When I lick someone, it's usually not the face. Fair enough. I've heard of good friends doing that, but if they weren't really close and it's weird as fuck, yeah, I lick my friends to scare them when they get stroppy at me. Yes, that's a good way to knock them off their game. A very odd place, Florida. Yeah, I agree, mate. Spent some time there once in Jacksonville. City was very segregated. The first time I set foot on American soil was in Miami, and I met some crazies when I was out there. Arabelle, can you vote for me? Well, I mean, you're American, aren't you, Toasted Network? I'm not allowed to vote in the United States of America because I'm not a citizen. Demon Lord, yes, Senpai saw me. I see you, you gobshite. I lick my friends for self-defense. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Zero says he licks girls sometimes. Yeah, they probably didn't consent. How did they, Zero? You dirtbag. Crazy bitches everywhere in Florida. What it must? Do you guys think it's the heat and the humidity that just makes people crazy? Florida man, say hi, fucking bear. Gobshite, great word. Yeah, and that's exactly the perfect word to describe Demon Lord. Ancap Jack, I bet a new game idea for GPP, Florida man or Georgia man. Was there crazies in Georgia as well? Oh, they do consent. No, they don't, Zero. No, they don't. You have to keep asking over and over for consent these days. Not citizens can vote in California. Yeah, but it's illegal, isn't it? Throw in Alabama too. That doesn't explain the UK though.
Thanks, Bear. And like I said, I've really been slamming the coffee today. So yeah, had to go again.
I have some more news.
Okay.
Canadian woman writes own obituary, says she has smoking hot body she always wanted after being cremated.
Oh, I love a person with a self-effacing sense of humor.
Oh, you should see this lady as well. She looks nuts. I'll show you. I'll share screen. So you can see how nutty this lady is. There we go.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah, she looks the sort. She looks like she might lick your face.
She kind of resembles my mother-in-law.
Are you sure?
I have one of those mother-in-laws people that people write the songs about.
Zero's asking for the link, so there you go. Enjoy. A Canadian woman had a humorous final after writing her own obituary. Sybil Marie Hicks of Baysville, Ontario, wrote that she passed away on February 2nd, 2019, and left behind her loving husband, Ron Hicks, who she often affectionately referred to as a horse's ass. That's not very nice, is it? Hicks wrote that she also left behind my children, whom I tolerated over the years, including her older son, Bob, who was her favorite. She's a dick. She wrote she would miss seeing her grandchildren grow up to be the incredible people they are meant to be. Hicks included other details about her life, like her graduation from Hamilton General Hospital School Nursing in 1957, and that she was a member of the Lions Club in Baysville. I finally had the smoking hot body I've always wanted, having been cremated, she wrote. Very, very good. Very good.
I think I kind of like her.
A positive attitude towards death right there.
You know, and she's throwing shade at her kids. You know, that's one of my tricks. You know.
Oh, bless her. Yeah, she is dead now. But that's cool. She got to write her own obituary before she died.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. There's a woman who wasn't afraid of death.
I've always told my family, look, when I die, don't spend a lot of money on a big fancy casket or whatever. Go get a cardboard refrigerator box, throw me in it, and roll me over in the nearest ditch. I ain't gonna care. Save your money.
Fair enough. Funerals are very expensive things.
Yeah, and it's not like I'm rich enough to leave anything behind except bills for my kids, unfortunately. Although my wife and I bought our grave plots years ago, you know, when we were still freshly married. So,
yeah.
So, before I get into story time, I wanted to make mention of this because, are you still there?
I'm still there.
Okay, my something went wrong with the video page. It's reloading, so it kind of threw me off there a minute. You and I were talking before, and a lot of my fans are also Monkey fans, or they're at least familiar with Monkey. You and I both like the channel Neebs Gaming. I know Jen in the chat likes them as well and everything.
Yep.
We greatly enjoy their content. If you don't know what we're talking about, go check them out. They're hilarious. They are hilarious. But they do a weekly segment called Commenting on Comments, which is kind of a podcast where they all take turns pulling different comments off their videos and discussing them. They came out with one earlier today, and this is why I was really hoping Monkey would show up, but he didn't. They come out with one earlier today, and one of the comments was somebody asking, "Is cereal soup?" Which, of course, they discussed. But I was like, I busted out laughing the second I heard that. I'm like, oh my gosh. Now I didn't recognize the name. I don't know if it was a fan of Monkey or what, but I was like, oh my gosh. The whole cereal or soup debate is back.
I like that. Neebs is a great channel, by the way.
It is.
It's a great channel. They do all kinds of different stuff on there.
And I'm not getting reimbursed for shilling them out like that. Although, guys, Apsro, Neebs, Simon, Thick, Duralius, if any of you guys are listening to this, like there's really a chance of that, right? But if you're listening to this, throw me a little bit here and there, and I'll keep it up.
There's a lot of like teams of people that work together on YouTube and stuff, and Neebs is the Neebs Gaming channel is a perfect example of that kind of thing done right. You've got these guys. There's Neebs, there's Apsro, there's Duralius, there's Thick, and there's Simon, and of course they have two editors as well, and the synergy between them is perfect.
Yeah, it really is. You couldn't ask for a group of people to just work off each other any better than they do. All of them. Yeah, of course, and everybody has their favorite, and I think Astro's hands down the funniest one of the lot. He's Looney Tunes, dude. But yeah, all in their own right. But I'm coming around to the Simon camp. Simon's really cracking me up lately.
Simon is hilarious as well.
But
Simon is the straight man of the group, I'd say.
He is. Simon plays a dumb, clueless, non-gamer character. And a lot of that's really kind of true.
Yeah, it is, yeah. He's knowledgeable in other things. And he really does shine in certain situations, You still there, Blood? Hello? 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 Can you guys in the chat still hear me? Hello? Blood? Can you guys hear the old man at all? Has Bloodwing gone quiet? Blood, if you can hear me, you've gone silent, mate. I think Bloodwing may have died. We just talked about death a minute ago. His missus has taken his body out to go dump his body in a ditch in a cardboard box, I think. And he's back. Is he back?
Yeah.
There he is.
Browsers keep shutting down. And I didn't even realize because I was watching the watch page and wasn't watching the Hangout.
Never mind, mate.
Who knows how much that I said that I didn't, but yeah. I said it was story time. Because I say it is. And we'll name today's story Felony Smoking.
Oh, this could be good.
When I was about, I don't know, I'm guessing 14 or 15 at this time, I had already started smoking. I'm not proud of the fact, but I started smoking when I was 12 years old, folks. Yeah.
My shock.
So this particular Sunday, we had got home from church, which we did every Sunday, and I was needing a cigarette. And so I tried to think of something to get me out of the house because my parents weren't one of those that let their kids smoke at a young age, thankfully. And, I had to think of some excuse to get out of the house. I said, well, before supper done, because, mom always got home and then started lunch. I'm going to go for a walk. Well, my parents weren't stupid. They knew I was smoking, and they knew what I was doing. But anyway, okay. So I took off down the street a little bit, and across the street, they're still there from where Dad lives, the house I grew up in, are these two warehouses. And at the time, they were just building them. And at this point in time, they were just cement shells. There was nothing inside. In fact, there was still dirt floors, but they put the walls up first before they put the floors or anything else down. They were just building them. And I got about half a block down the road, look over my shoulder, and ducked into the high weeds because they're all surrounded by high weeds around these warehouses, right? So I'll duck over here. I'll have me a smoke. Nobody will be the wiser, you know? So I light me a cigarette, get no more, and I hear a noise. But I think it's a buzzsaw because, like I said, they're doing construction because it sounded like a circular saw running, you know. I get a couple of puffs off of it, and the next thing I hear is, "You, they're crouched in the weeds. Stand with your hands up. Don't make any sudden moves." Holy crap! What's going on? I'm thinking. So I put my hands up. I don't know, and I get up. And it's a cop. His gun is drawn and pointed right at my head.
Just want a cigarette.
Yeah, I'm nearly crapping myself. Come to find out, the noise I was hearing was the alarm. Somebody had tried to break in. Oh, and I picked that time to go smoke. So I'm like, oh, please don't shoot. God, you know, please, God, don't shoot me. I'm just a kid, you know, and I'm just over here. Look, I'm smoking a cigarette. I'm just having a smoke. I'm trying to sneak away from my parents. I told him the whole story. I confessed to everything. I confessed to every sin that I'd had since I was born. Just don't shoot me.
I did flush the toilet this morning.
Yeah. So he says, all right, come with me. And he's marching me. His gun's still out at my back, and my hands are up, and he's marching me toward the building. We're going to go check it out. We're going to check your story. And we walk around, and as we come around the corner of the building, there is his partner, and we surprise him. And Barney Fife style, he yanks his pistol out and shoves it right in my nose.
Got a gun in your back and a gun in your face.
A gun in my face, and all I wanted was a cigarette. I'm like, oh my God, please don't shoot. Oh God, I'm going to die. Don't shoot me for a cigarette. Finally, after everything calms down and they put their weapons away, they finally believed me that I didn't have anything to do with the alarm, that I was just a kid smoking, you know, trying to sneak a cigarette. No, I didn't see anybody around the building. I'm the only person I saw there. I have no idea what's going on. I don't know anything that's going on. Can I please go home now? Because I need to change my shorts. The officer says, yeah, you can go home, and I'm going with you.
Oh, no.
He marched me home. His gun was away at this point, but he marched me home in front of the neighbors and everybody, knocked on the door, and told my parents I was sneaking a smoke.
I bet he failed to inform them that they had a gun in your face and your back.
I'm like, great. Not only did I almost die today twice because of the sneaking a cigarette, you're going to tell on me? You freaking narc. I of course didn't say that, but I'm thinking it. I'm like, great. You don't have to. Could have just let me go home.
Smoking kills.
So there we are, folks. That's my story. Felony smoking.
Basically punished 3 times for a single cigarette.
Yeah. I didn't receive any punishment from my parents. I did get some bad looks and the whole I'm disappointed in you lecture, you know, which I would rather took a beating than for my dad to tell me he was disappointed, but at any rate. But I didn't get any further punishment because they figured I'd been punished enough already.
A gun to the back and a gun square in your face is it's a bit much.
Yeah. Well, in their defense, they didn't know. And the second guy was caught off guard. You know, the alarm's going off. They're on high alert. They don't know what to expect when they're getting called to the building. But I was like, oh my God, I'm glad that didn't hair trigger. I'd have been dead. So there you are, folks. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed the story for today. So we got about 5 minutes left, and we'll open it up to questions from the chat.
Good call. Good call. I think we have some questions from the chat.
Yeah. Ask anything. If I don't want to answer it, I won't. But you know, chances are that I'll answer to the best of my ability.
Mm-hmm. Bloodwing, why is there no internet police? There is in the UK.
Yeah, just ask Bear about that.
There is here. Entire task forces dedicated to that kind of thing. It's pretty sad.
Look at that ratio: 71 watching, 71 likes.
I have 72 likes on mine.
Yeah, well, mine probably just hasn't updated yet.
Yeah. Mark says my dad was a career cop, and the few times I ever had dealings with cops, hell, Mark, go home or I tell your dad, which was worse than any other punishment.
Yeah, exactly. For the most part, and I've mentioned this before, I live in a redneck ghetto. That's no lie. And for the longest time, Indianapolis police would not come here. Only the sheriffs were. Now, since the sheriff's department and the Indianapolis police department have merged and become metro police, they're all one thing now. But back then, all that would ever show up are sheriffs. And then only occasionally. They did not come here. It wasn't safe. And but the ones that did all knew my dad. They all went to school with my dad. So they knew me by sight.
Bloodwing, you used to be a thug.
I was. You wouldn't believe some of the things. And not only that, but I used to hang around with real 1%ers. Do you know what I mean by 1%ers?
I don't know.
Bikers.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah. You told me that before. I just
like
forgot.
Outlaws, Hell's Angel type bikers, not wannabe bikers. This is outlaw territory here. So most of them I hung out with were outlaws and
like proper patched in members.
Yep.
Yeah.
And by and large, they're just regular guys. They just happen to be organized crime.
Must be pretty scary.
When did I become nice? Well, I like to think that I was nice from birth, but it depends on who you ask on whether I'm nice. There are people that I know in real life that say, he's nice.
You're a mean old man.
Yeah, as the neighborhood kid used to say. Yeah. If you hadn't, what he's referring to, there used to be people live next door to us where we live now. And they had little kids, and the little boy used to get in his backyard and throw rocks over in my yard. And I would place them back in the yard. Said, "Hey, cut that out, kid. I got to mow this grass. I'll run over with the lawnmower." And of course, he would just throw more rocks and so forth. I was out in the yard one day getting something out of the shed. And I hear this little boy voice saying, "Hey, you mean old man, you." I didn't even look at him. I just grinned to myself and said out loud, "Yeah, and I like eating little kids like you for supper. Want to come for dinner?" Next thing I heard was him running for Mom.
He's gonna eat me. Jen wants to keep. She's asked you twice now. Have you ever been to archery school or an archery? Yep. Sorry, an archery shoot.
I have not. I have shot a bow, but I've not. No, nothing. Turkey shoots, yeah. Maybe I'll tell the story about how my grandmother won a turkey shoot at the age of 75. So.
There you go. I think Jen's only asking that because you're so old. Like,
oh,
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of my family are bow hunters. A lot of my family are big bow hunters. A lot of hunters in my family. Well, we're rednecks, of course there are.
Bloodwing is Daryl.
That's right.
Zombie apocalypse, grab Bloodwing.
Yep. I may not be able to walk good, but trust me, I can cover your back.
There you go. He'd be in his racing stripe covered mobility scooter with a bow.
Yeah, here's my tip for the day, guys. In case of a zombie apocalypse, hook up with the nearest redneck.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have you back. And that being said, we are at that time of the stream.
Hey.
And thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for the donations. You guys are more than generous. You're too good to me. Thank you, chat, for all the interaction and the likes and so forth. Bear, thank you as always for showing up. Anything you want to shill?
Yep, I released a brand new Irate Alex video yesterday. Go give that a watch. It's now linked in the chat.
There you go. Go do it. Don't make me pull this internet over.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, get over and do it. So anyway, we're going to end it here. And as always, get out of my yard.
Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.